Test, test. Hello there, YouTubers. It's the 24th of March, year 2025, both at Australian Eastern Daylight Time and local Beijing or Peking time. And yes, I am currently shedding some light onto myself with this newly acquired photovoltaic lamp, which means yes, it can charge itself. It can charge itself, via direct or indirect sunlight, or any other sorts of light, or electromagnetic emissions with a sufficient level of illumination or intensity. And yes, I kind of initiated this live stream, both to put my cognitive abilities to the test and its overall charge capacity to the test. After or that has happened. And I beg your pardon if I still sound of since I kind of just recovered from another severe depression episode. And fortunately, though, though somewhat fortunately, I did take a shower and took some time to recollect myself, and and thought about something else to talk about during this live stream. Yes, and yes, the reason why I named the title of this live stream is that yes, I kind of wanted to as always to encourage both myself and you guys to to continue and persevere in this shitty life, in this hostile and hostile and ruthless life. I beg your pardon for the inadequate lighting condition. Yeah, maybe I should just hold it, with one of my hands here. I don't know. How do I look? Have you ever smoked weed, bro? No, I've never used I've never used any sort of illicit drugs in my entire life, and I never planned to do so. And no, I'm not currently in Australia. I'm currently in Asia, namely China. And oops, maybe I've Yeah, the current chart shows that it still has it still has about 60 remaining, and it's but somehow it starts to dim. So apparently, more or less, I've got myself scanned, by that vendor on Taobao. And yes, and as a result, I might have to, somehow um, try to come up with a solution as to how I can buy, you know items, relatively speaking, high quality items, from AliExpress instead of Taobao. Since yes, maybe I should just turn on this one instead. There we go. So yeah, since yes, AliExpress mainly targets non-Chinese consumers and customers, whereas Taobao, well, most predominantly speaking, it just it aims to sell their products and services to to ordinary Chinese folks here and there, more or less, and hence that that which means it kind of um, enables or tacitly gives them the permission to cut corners on the quality of the items they are selling. So yeah, but I'm not exactly looking for help or assistance from you guys on on how exactly to yes to to buy, to make purchases from AliExpress from within China. Um, I s- I imagine yes. Um, I imagine sooner or later, um, I should be able to find a way. Since when, as an old saying goes, when there's a will, there's a way. You know. Um, I went to school with you, bro. You were a real one hope. Well, I beg your pardon if I fail to recall or remember um, back, you know, in the days, during my teenage years while I was still a student at high school. I beg your pardon in case I failed to retrieve my teenage memory adequately. So yeah, I don't know, but yes, I don't really remember spending time with you as classmates or schoolmates back in my high school in Singapore. So my name was Brody. We had chemical engineering classes. You mean at the University of Sydney? I still don't. I still can't verify that. I beg your pardon. if I still can't recall or verify that, since since your avatar has no photo of a real person or a human individual to speak of. Um, but yes, nevertheless, like I said, I try my best to keep an open door policy as much as possible. Since I set all pretty much all my live stream to allow to allow messages from from all instead of my subscribers only. So please feel free to talk about whatever comes to your mind. Well, just try to abstain from saying, say, things like racial slurs, um, instructions, to bet, or encouraging people to commit crimes, or illicit acts, blah blah blah. And yes, even if yes, you talk about how to smoke weed, how to smoke certain types of hard drugs like heroin, crack, blah blah blah. Yes, I can't really stop you from from indulging in them, to dull the pain of your life. Then it is completely your business, and I certainly can't really judge you on I certainly can't and won't judge you based on how you kill your time, how you um how you find ways to make your lives easier, more more manageable, or so-called culpable. So yeah, um how to remain how to remain content. Yes, basically the approach I have adopted is to kind of hold or harbor a bit of aggressive gratitude, which is to well, I know it can sound a bit cliche, but yes, it's basically just try to be aggressively grateful for what you have, and could what could have occurred as the worst possible scenario or outcome. Say, well, for example, at least, yes, I still have a roof over my head, and I still have access to the global internet via a customized, VPN application. Um, Despite the fact that you know, I, I am currently pretty much trapped and stranded in the Great Firewall, which strictly and stringently restricts, you know, international traffic, um, you know, you know, coming in and out, to and fro, from within China, from within the Great Firewall. Um, and yes, though yes, I try to yes, I try to kind of cut corners on on how much I spend on on food, on on clothing, on all those daily necessities. At least yes, I can still kind of manage to at least have two full meals per day. Though I kind of still have to um, you know decide and choose um, which meal I should you know eat more a bit more, and which meal I should or I have to ingest a bit less as food. Yeah, that sort of thing. Um, yes. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back again to my live stream, King. I always I've always enjoyed your insights, and I appreciate your work ethic when it comes to fitness. Yes, speaking of fitness, yes, I did still manage to have done 101 push-ups, plus 16 switch lunges, and on top of that, yes, I've also yes mopped the floor since yesterday. The delivery guy that that delivered my takeaway food had some of the um soup spilled, and the bag that contained the food broken. So yes, it had spilled some some soup, not exactly all over the flat, but yes, it did um yes made the floors much much less um, presentable. So I had to clean it. I had to mop it whenever and wherever I could. So but yes, though yes, I couldn't um mop it as efficiently as not neither my grandma nor my adopted mom um does or did. At least yes, it looks much more presentable, and I hope that can somehow improve my mood and level of morale and motivation um, overall. Yeah, not exact, not in a row. Just yes. First, yes, one, yes, round one I did 50. Round two I did 51. So 50 plus 51 equals 101. So yeah, I still can't really do 100 100 push-ups in a row, or consecutively. I have to do them in at least two rounds. Though yes, in one round so far, um maximally I can maybe do 60 or 65, maybe 70, but not but I still can't do 100 or more than 100 in one round or in one row. So yeah, that's the the ultimate truth, at least for me. Yes, to me, such limit holds true. At least, yes, to me and for the moment. Though I will see what I can do to push myself through that limit in the future, and see how much how how much of oops um you know positive changes it can bring to my life. Yeah, but yeah, I just don't know. Yes, and speaking of be content but not complacent. Yes, probably my probably my innate or inherent inability to get complacent about my status quo kind of makes me or renders me um more often than not depressed and not so motivated to do more hard work than um the bare minimum level. um and I imagine since early childhood, ever since my birth, both my old man and my grandma put so much so much high level expectations on me that it gets so ingrained, so embedded onto my brain, onto my mind, that I am kind of meant to achieve greatness, or to kind of become someone so great or successful that that I earn respect and envy from literally or virtually everyone that has something to do with me or crosses paths with me. That sort of mentality has more often than not got the best of me. And I don't know, but I don't know if it serves as a more of a curse or a blessing or both. But yeah, it at least somehow sometimes it can can work both ways. Sometimes it can backfire. It can do me more harm than good. Yet sometimes and somehow it I won't say it helps me for some time snap me out of a state of severe depression and anxiety. But yeah, my mind just has dystopian and chaotic, to say the least. um Thank you very much for saying that. um but I don't know. And the greatest fear, one of my greatest fear, one of my greatest insecurities is that I may have been remaining or staying in in an environment in a country or region where I don't get to where I don't have that many opportunities to speak and think in English may eventually lead to the worst possible outcome or scenario in which I may or might or could just lose the ability to to speak not just English but all other languages I kind of take pride in, not just Japanese but also Mandarin Chinese. And maybe it can sound a bit hard to believe or du- dubious to most, if not all, of you guys here. I can, I barely have, you know, you know, any opportunities, to speak and practice my Mandarin Chinese, despite the fact that I am currently residing in China. Since I don't really have um loads or lots of friends here, or I should say, I have no friends. I have no friends whosoever at all here in China. You know, I have so few people to whom I can speak um, th- that I barely have any opportunity to even uh, open my mouth and vocalize my thoughts and ideas, much less to articulate them. At least in my current environment, in my current living environment and the status quo, with my current status quo, I barely have any opportunities to even talk to people face to face. Not to mention you know practicing um you know practicing articulating my speech, no matter the language or dialects or accents. Well, ever since yes, ever since my grandma, ever since my grandma kicked her bucket in late year 2022, yes, namely yes, in early October year 2022, yes, I have pretty much um no one to talk to, not just to speak English, but also Mandarin Chinese. Since I basically learned, I basically acquired Mandarin Chinese from my grandma, since I spent most, if not all, my early childhood with my grandma. And then yes, my old man sent me to Singapore to to study, you know to to pursue the successful um, um, accomplishment and completion of my IGCSE and A level. Yes, and to his surprise, I did manage, to at least graduate from high school from A level. But unfortunately, I got my sorry ass kicked out from the University of Sydney, due to a bunch of highly complicated reasons, and well, namely, yes, I continued to perform so poorly in several core subjects slash core or mandatory units of studies. And yeah, that's and then and yes my then yes then my yes I had other complications such as depression and anxiety, but not exactly, not but during that period, my OCD hadn't got that severe. At least not to the point that you know, like my current status quo. Where I just can't help but double check and triple check and quadruple check whether I closed the door of the fridge properly, or or switched off lights properly, or wiped my sometimes even I have to to double check whether I wiped my ass properly after I take a dump. you know it's just freaking traumatizing and burdensome and arduous, to say the least. And it can add even more insults to injuries, and it can continue to perpetuate itself as such a vicious cycle over and over and over. So I figure, it may just be, to at least depart from this for a while, to um reason number one, to trim up my my ability to self sustain and become completely independent, to become completely sufficient, um despite all odds, despite what has happened so far. um yes, I do have a Discord. You can find it by clicking the main page you know of my channel. Yes, I basically put the link to my Discord server at the very top, um on the homepage of my channel. So yeah, though I can't though I can't guarantee that I will always remain online on Discord. Nevertheless, you can feel free to leave me a message, and I will do my best to reply to you at my earliest um, convenience, wherever practical and possible. Yeah. Though I can't make such a promise that I shall remain online there all the time, since I have plenty of other businesses to attend to from time to time. Yeah. Um, And I beg your pardon. But yeah, and speaking, and also speaking of how not to um become complacent about your current life, about your status quo. Um, I suppose at least you should let fear and your agony, your own insecurities play their vital role of kind of forcefully di- di- discipline discipline yourself or yourselves into a fairly regular, fairly um, productive routine. Say since I've grown so tired, so weary of of being and staying miserable and depressed. I kind of forced myself to work out, to exercise you know at least six times a week. Well, at least most recently I pretty much I pretty much been working out um every freaking day. um you know either doing push-ups or switch lunges or both. Though yes, they do not completely or even significantly blow away depression and anxiety. They give me at least the power, the momentum to persevere. And maybe that's how I how I managed to have made this far in in life. Yeah. And yes, well, in case you feel a bit curious, you can feel free to go back um by scrolling down to my previous videos, and see how miserable I and depressed I was in year 2023 in particular, and the lower the the former half, the former half of year 2024. Yes, you can feel free to go back to my previous videos, and try to you know familiarize yourselves with um yes how badly or how terribly I I functioned or performed as a human being, as another drifter or derper. But yeah, though I'm not saying that I do not derp or drift, or just waste my time at all. Yes, in as a matter of fact, I pretty much wasted. I pretty much wasted my entire previous weekend being and staying depressed and unmotivated. Though that, however, that does not suggest that I did not want to break free, or completely change my status quo. I just but I suppose I just perceive that I currently lack the mental fortitude and the financial strength or power, to make that big change within such, short duration or period of time. Yeah. I hope you guys know the drill, and yes, and I certainly hope that I have made some sense so far. Yeah, but unfortunately, yes, things are just getting harder and harder by the minute, by the second, as we speak. Um, but nevertheless, yes, sometimes, though not necessarily more often than not, we do have the power, to at least partially snap out of deep depression and anxiety. Sometimes even without having to consume or ingest medications. And yes, and speaking of medications, um, the past several weeks, I assume, pretty much have been not exactly a total, but largely a mini di- mental disaster to me. Despite the fact that I succeeded in procuring some more antidepressants, namely some venlafaxine analogs. I began to to break the so-called fast or abstinence from taking them, um, since yes, since last year, since um, late November to early December in year 2024. And yes, and that, yes, that should count as about approximately, yes, 3 months, 3 months and a half. Yes, based on the statistics, based on the data I've gathered so far. That says I can survive and some even somewhat thrive without antidepressant for at least three months, and after that I will very much likely turn back into the wreck you know that that I tend to become, um, while severely depressed and mentally drained, and maybe also burned out. Though yes, maybe my own definition or interpretation or our understanding of burnout has nothing to do with the conventional, the most popularly conventional definition of occupational burnout. But yes, even as a digital nomad, I, from time to time, also, suffer from and experience, a state of burnout. There are times that I just don't feel like doing anything, including, um, washing my face, brushing my teeth, you know. Though yes, I did wash my face and brush my teeth properly and fairly normally for today, and yes, for tonight, to those that reside in the largely, in Asia, in the eastern hemisphere of planet Earth, and those who are also currently watching my live stream and interacting with me. So yeah, I beg your pardon. But yeah, I've tried over the past several weeks, months, years. I've been trying my utmost best to, to plug that wicked woman out of my brain, out of my mind, since I can't just let her um continue to live in my brain, and in turn in my life, rent free forever, and thus causing me more trauma and hindrance in my future journey or voyage of my remaining life. And I certainly don't want that, and I can pretty much safely assume um that you guys don't want to let your trauma and your past regrets or events that cause you trauma to follow you for the rest of your life. It will certainly do you more harm than good. And yes, why why, though, yes, you have the total freedom to believe in God, or don't, or not to believe in God. But you can pretty much draw a rather accurate conclusion, that all mainstream religions, within human civilization, put an emphasis on on forgiving those that wronged you, those that have wronged you, and did you harm and caused you trauma in the past. Yes, I can't really come to a full closure, a full how should I put it, a state or a mental condition in which I totally forgive that wicked woman who allegedly, you know, either directly or indirectly caused the premature demise of my old man, and then my grandma, and totally, pretty much totally, brought this household to total ruins, and a state of desolation. I can't, I haven't, even myself, haven't reached that state of zen and peace, or the serene mental state in which I cease to hold grudges or a bitterness, or unforgiven sinners that did me a great deal of wrongs in the past. I haven't, and I don't suppose I can achieve that state of mind or mental condition of serenity and tranquility. No, at least not for now. Where all things have gone so haywire, all things have been have turned so chaotic and tumultuous, and even my own mind, even I can't really um keep my own mind in control most of the times as we speak. Though I am glad that that I still you know despite all the odds and all the odds and adversities and hardships that stack up against me, against us, men, particularly speaking, MGTOW men. I still manage, to vent and rant, vent, to largely vent and rant a bit, in the form of another live stream. Yes, and I am, yes, you know extremely grateful that despite my stuttering, my fairly severe stuttering and the depression and a state of mental misery, I can still manage to attract, to at least attract some of you guys, if not all of you guys, to my channel, and stay and stay watching and remained subscribed to my channel, therefore serving as a huge source of encouragement and incentivization that keep me going, no matter no matter how shitty, no matter how challenging my situation tends to become. And yes, also, to avoid complacency about your current situation, you need to realize, you need to kind of be aware of your untapped or unfulfilled potential. And yes, you certainly do not want to die with regrets that you wasted your potential. Say, your unfulfilled dreams or unfulfilled and ambitions. Though I'm not saying that you should go go all in all the time. At least you should at least go all in sometimes when and where you need to or have to, since that so doing can at least grant you a moment of satisfaction, a moment of sense of achievement. Though that, however, does not necessarily imply or suggest that I encourage you guys to go and start a family, have 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 children, reproduce, and blah blah blah. Though, and I'm not neither am I, trying to stop you from so doing. Well, since it's your life, your your part to participate in the game called life, your session, you have, you take the shots. I certainly do not want to to sound manipulative, by or even not narcissistic, to those that have some sort of sensitive nerves, by telling you what exactly to do and what exactly not to do, or where exactly to go, or where exactly not to go. Um, you be your own judge, and I will, um, at least, from now on, reserve my judgment when it comes to offering suggestions or advice to to somebody else, you know except myself, since I do this, I make videos, I go live on YouTube to kind of give me the self encouragement, self affirmation, where I have absolutely no one to do so. Um, no one else can do so on my behalf, and vice versa. And the same can the same saying can also apply to you guys. Um once you slide into a circumstance, a highly d- despairing and desperate circumstance in which you have absolutely no one to give you a helping hand, in which you have absolutely no one to give you a shoulder to lean on or to cry on, then you are completely on your own to become your own hero, to to pull yourself out of such state of total misery, depression, and desperation by becoming your own hero, by becoming the change you have always wanted to become. Yeah. So yeah. I believe, yes, I said something highly similar in my previous live streams, that yes, settling for less, sometimes can make you or render you depressed as well. Just picture picture the picture a scenario in which your testicles, your balls got so full that you can no longer you know hold or um hold or can continue to practice abstinence or no fap or semen retention, and you just can't help but start to fap. That says, yes, your semen, your semen, your semen that populates your testicles are can be seen as some sort of untapped or unfulfilled or unused um, potential. Yeah, I beg your pardon for having to show you guys that massive stutter. It's so embarrassing, so embarrassing. Yeah, but yeah, in any regards, yeah, in any regards, I believe I have talked enough for now, and thank you very much for tuning in to my live stream. And please, if it doesn't trouble you um, so much, please consider subscribing to my channel and smashing that like button so that YouTube's lady algorithm can grant my channel some more favors and exposures. Therefore, enabling and encouraging me, to practice articulating my speech without stuttering, and therefore, incentivizing me to bring you guys more quality and more insightful contents, and namely more more quality and insightful videos in the future. So yeah, thank you again for considering my my so-called sales pitch to lure or encourage you guys to smash that like button. Yeah, but yeah, in any regards, I'd better go now, and take care of my own business. And yeah, and I know it's rather less than an ideal time to initiate another live streaming session, but despite that, thank you for for your likes, your heartwarming comments, and thank you very much for tuning in, despite the fact that I filmed this live stream at such an non-ideal time. So yeah, take care and stay far from weak, and yeah, stay out of trouble. And thank you very much again for tuning in. Have a lovely day, and if God's still willing, see you around in my next videos and or live streams. Cheers. Bye. Take care.